am African, I'm a mother, and I'm raising a new breed of leaders for the African future.
It's a cozy afternoon to you right here from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria and the most populous city in Africa. You're welcome to the A.R.A.L Show, where A.R.A.L means Afrimums Raising African Leaders. My name is Zoe Sommie, but I'm never alone. I'm here with the steady, the sturdy, and the strong.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're viewing from right now or when you will be viewing later on for those who would catch the replay. I am Sommie, and of course I'm here with Zoe on the A.R.A.L Show, and today is going to be an exciting one.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Sommie. We have a guest, but before we go to our guest, our conversation today is raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure. Raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure.
Okay, yes. So, and it's going to be an exciting one. You know the drill already. So, if you haven't subscribed, now is the right time for you to subscribe to 𝘼𝙁𝙍𝙄𝙎 Radio on YouTube. And don't forget to like, drop your comments so that we can respond. We want you to be a part of the conversation. You can also call in by dialing 080-9888-1024. So yes, raising a confident child that can withstand peer pressure. Like Zoe said, we're having our first guest on the A.R.A.L Show. Okay, so without any further ado, we'll be introducing our guests after this short break. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's 𝘼𝙁𝙍𝙄𝙎 Radio, your number one refreshing radio. We inspire, educate, and motivate.
But that's not all there is to 𝘼𝙁𝙍's brand. There is 𝘼𝙁𝙍's Place, your preferred place, perfect for live recordings, dance or music rehearsals, AGMs, conferences, meetings, and birthday parties.
Of course, there is Digital Consult, the arm responsible for procurement and installment trainings, live sound equipment rentals, and professional live streaming solutions.
Then we have the Odogu of our services, 𝘼𝙁 Sound, where we handle everything sound related, ranging from live sound setup, audio mixing, and live sound reinforcement.
Don't forget to download the 𝘼𝙁𝙍1024 radio app from the Google Play Store for inspirational, educational, and motivational content.
At 𝘼𝙁𝙁1024 Solutions, we pride ourselves on delivering excellent sound, quality service, and value to our clients the first time and all the time.
We are 𝘼𝙁𝙍.
Every beat counts.
You're welcome back. All right, you're welcome back to the A.R.A.L Show. It's Afrimums Raising African Leaders. Before we went on the break, we told you that we are having our very first guest on the show.
Bravo!
And now she's here. All right, you're most welcome, ma'am.
Welcome.
All
Nice
right.
to have you on the show.
Yes. Okay, our guest goes by the name 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙍𝙄𝙎, and it gives me great delight to read her profile. Shall we?
Let's go there.
All right, 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙍𝙎 is a graduate of Olabisi Onabanjo University, 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁, Ogun State. She's a seasoned teens coach and sales professional who is happily married and has been so for 15 years. She's blessed with 4 amazing children. Whoa. She has over 17 years experience in leading, mentoring, and raising teenagers. Wow. And she is the founder of 𝘼𝙁𝙁 Embrace, an NGO with the goal of training and growing confident teenagers to be their very best version in life. She's a great planner, and she's a fantastic cook. 𝘼𝙁𝙁 is looking forward to a future where young Africans would wake up to their full potential and portray what true freedom and leadership is. Please, without much ado, can we put our hands together? Make some noise.
Welcome, Mrs. 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁. Nice to have you on the show once again.
Well, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
A few days ago, a video has been trending on social media of two teenage African girls engaged in a fight somewhere in a school compound. Yeah. It's really sad how it began with one girl, you know, getting the other provoked, and then it evolved in a fight where one in defense pushed the other who started the fight, and she hit her head against a chair, and the next we saw was blood. The question on the lips of everyone is, and perhaps in the hearts particularly of African mothers like us, is if one of those girls had a clear sense of identity, is it possible that she would have walked away from peer pressure? Is it possible that if she had a clear understanding of what the virtues and values she's upholding are, is it possible that she would have said no to a fight that day? These are questions, and perhaps today we might find answers. The question we are discussing is raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure. And Miss Edith here will do justice to this topic. I'll start by asking her the very first question. Ma'am, who is a confident child, and how do we raise one?
Thank you very much. Well, I would like to say that a confident child is that child who is there are two words popping up in my head right now, but let me go with one. A confident child is that child who feels comfortable with who they are, who they are, who they have become, or who they are becoming, and that child is not concerned and perturbed about what someone else thinks of him or thinks of her. So that's the most simplest explanation I could give to say that's who a confident child is. So that child is able to say, oh, I don't really care about what you think about me. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. And then I'm proud of who I am. So that's a confident child.
Okay. How do we raise one?
That's a tough call. That's a tough call. It's doable, but it's hard work.
Sure.
So first of all, you have to affirm to your child or the children around you over and over again that they are loved. You must profess love to that child. You must profess love. So that's what that's going to do for the child is that the child is going to become strong on the inside. I know I'm loved. So that's going to build self-esteem in the child. And then when that child does something wrong, African mothers, we are used to the harsh way of correcting children. I mean, you spank and you shout and all of that. So I think that we need to soft pedal on that.
Oh, okay.
I think doesn't mean that we shouldn't spank when necessary. We would, but I think we should soft pedal. We should draw them close. We should love them and force their strengths and let them know you are strong in this and we love you for that.
Okay, so that was a very beautiful one. And of course, our topic is raising a confident child that can withstand peer pressure. So now that brings us to the second question. What is peer pressure? And at what age do children begin to be influenced by peers? And can a child completely avoid being influenced by peers?
What is peer pressure?
Yes.
Peer pressure is that influence to want to belong to a certain age bracket.
Okay.
That influence, that feeling inside of a child to want to belong to a certain age group. So that influence can be positive or it can be negative. But there is that influence to want to belong. So that's what peer pressure is. So you are pushed on the inside to want to be a part of something.
Yeah.
So, and then you ask the follow-up question.
At what age does a child begin to get influenced by their peers?
Okay, this influence starts from ages 8 to 9. That's when they begin to realize that, in primary school, when you have a child in primary school and they're like in primary 4, then that's when you begin to hear
my classmates, I don't like this shoe anymore.
Exactly.
Can't I wear this shoe? Mommy, why don't you buy this shoe that has suede? The influence has started.
Yeah.
So at that point, you begin to nip it in the bud. This
Exactly.
is what mommy can afford. This is what daddy can afford. And you are good the way you are.
Yeah.
Wearing this shoe doesn't change who you are. It's about who you are, not what you're wearing. Exactly. So it starts at that age and it peaks at 14, 15. And it begins to have a decline. It begins to nosedive. So once the child is strong and has a good self-confidence, self-esteem, from ages 8 to 14, 15, at that point, it's difficult to break in and make that child do what is wrong, if you get it.
Okay,
There is
so
a third
yes, can a child completely avoid being influenced by peer? I'm tempted to add a follow-up question. For the purpose of time, let's stick to the.
No, you cannot have. No, it's unavoidable.
Okay.
No, so, because we're social beings.
True.
So the child must go to school. The child must relate with neighbors and all of that. So it cannot be avoided.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that it's good influence.
Okay, just briefly. So you said from age 14 to 15 it begins to decline. And I had in mind, I said I was going to ask you, so is it only children that are at the risk of being, influenced by peer pressure? Because it seems some adults also have to battle with peer pressure. Do you understand? So would you say adults having to battle with peer pressure was as a result of a foundational issue that wasn't dealt with during childhood? Or what do you think about that?
Yes. I would like to agree with you. Some of us feel that some of us say we didn't have a good childhood. And then sometimes some people are from dysfunctional homes and they have they feel like there's this longing, there's a lot of catching up. There are certain things I didn't enjoy while growing up. So when they get older, they want to maximize it. They want to do what they were not able to do. And it all boils down to poor self-esteem. If you have a great self-esteem as an adult, you wouldn't fall to negative peer pressure influence.
Okay.
Mothers.
All right.
Wow.
That's
Wow. The
interesting.
conversation so far. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Edith Onakpoya. Raising a confident child to withstand peer pressure. We asked the first question, who is a confident child and how do you raise one? And in her words, a confident child, in summary, is a child that is comfortable in his skin, is aware of who he is, and therefore is not troubled by others' opinion about him. And how do we raise one? Something she said that struck me and that I'll be taking home is love them. When you love a child, what it does is it sends the signal that I am this, my parents who raised me this way love me, and therefore I don't exactly need affirmation from someone else. Then the question was asked, what is peer pressure? And what response was that again? That it's wanting to belong, wanting to belong to, a circle. And then we asked, at what age do children begin to be influenced? And then she said from about the age of 8 to 9, because at that age you begin to hear things like, oh, I want what my pair want, what my pair has. And then it peaks at the age of 14, 15 as a teenager, where they want to wear certain kinds of clothes and speak in certain kind of ways and rap in a kind of way, even when they don't know how to rap, but because everybody's rapping, I must rap, that kind of a thing. And then, but that's something that would have happened for, and then Somi asked a very important question, that is it possible that there are adults who are also experiencing this peer pressure? And then the question, the answer we got is that at some point, when people come out of dysfunctional homes, they seem to have a feeling of, I need to catch up with what I've lost. And so they are as well fall prey to peer pressure. The conversation is just beginning, is speaking, and you don't want to miss out of this. Please don't go away. We are going on a break right now, and we'll be right back for very many more questions.
Highlighting the impact of hunger in our community and the role of A.R.A.L food stores in providing relief. In a small African village, children are crying from hunger, parents are in despair, and the community is struggling. A.R.A.L food stores arrives, bringing hope and food supplies, transforming sadness into joy. Lack of food has led to social vices and malnutrition, affecting many homes in Nigeria. The situation is dire, and the need for support is urgent. 𝘼𝙁 Food Stores steps in, providing essential food items to the needy families, bringing relief and happiness to the community. By supporting and investing in 𝘼𝙁 Food Stores, we can put food on the tables of many families, addressing hunger and sustaining the vital work of 𝘼𝙁 Food Stores.
Okay, welcome back. We've been having a very, very interesting conversation here with Mrs. Edith. You know, when we said we were bringing in our first show, I didn't know she would bring so much fire. Like, we're enjoying. Don't forget, it's still your refreshing radio station, Digit 1024 Radio. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. We want to read from you. What do you think about peer pressure? What do you think about the topic that we are discussing? And of course, no one is a colossus of knowledge or something. So we also want to read from you. Probably you have tips and tricks that can help us handle this topic effectively. Please do well to drop them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to reach out. So when I asked about adults having peer pressure, so let me share a personal story.
Okay.
My mom is wonderful. Like, she's that mother that will go out of her way for her children. Like, at times I used to jest her. I was like, it seems you didn't have a child in your former life, because the way you're so vested, my children, and all that. So, but my mom was very strict, especially with me, probably because I was her only daughter or something. So, and when I got into the university, part of her effort to, restrict my movements and cage me was that she refused to get a hostel for me. So she wanted me to stay with my godmother. She said I should stay with my godmother. And me, I was feeling rebellious. Like, this is my opportunity to be free. Why do you still want to, cage me? So what I always do then, funny enough, she thought she was caging me, but of course, children will always be children. So then I'll tell my godmother I was going for night classes. But in the night classes, I put my bomb shorts. I'm going to the club to go and dance. Of course, I never drink, I never smoke, but I loved dancing. So I'll just go to the club and go and dance. Until one day, finally, she put me in the hostel. And the truth is that from the day I entered the hostel up to this moment, I've never been to a club again. So then it was like an act of rebellion. Do you understand? For me, like, why should you cage me? As in, I wanted to prove that I can still do what I wanted to do with all the regimentation and everything. Which brings me to the third question, which is, how can a mother prepare her child for peer influence? Are there tips and tricks to teach your child before he begins to interface with the world? And I'm sorry, before you answer, so I think one of the things that also helped my mom was that one of my uncles, of course, he was staying abroad at the time, so his orientation has started to kind of shift. So he told my mom, he said, Auntie, you have trained this girl now. Now is the time to allow her live out this training. So it's time for you to reduce. I guess that also mellowed the whole thing for me and all that. So the question now is, how can a mother prepare her child for peer influence? Let's take that first one, then I'll give the follow-up.
Thank you, Sommie.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
I'll repeat it again, it's a tough call. But I'd like to start from here. A mother has a role in building self-esteem and confidence in her child. So those are very strong factors in terms of dealing with peer pressure, because children who fall and succumb to negative peer pressure are usually children who have very low self-esteem. They are not confident in themselves. They do not feel loved. So a mother has a role to make sure that she makes sure that her child is very confident in him, his, or herself. Then the self-esteem must just be there. Then there are certain characteristic traits of your child. You should know that this child of mine is very organized. What are the strengths of your child? You need to reaffirm to that child over and over again. These are the traits. This is who you are. This is who you are. You have to keep doing that to the child over and over again. And then when your child does something great, you have to. I mean, you know how when your child comes home with excellent results and you are all over the place. So when your child does something excellent, great, fantastic, takes an initiative to put the house in order, or takes an initiative, so, oh, mommy just got back, and then the child takes your shoes and takes it to the shoe rack and keeps it, you have to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because he shows you there's a big picture in front. That's an organized person.
Yeah.
So those are things you need to celebrate about the child.
Yeah. Okay, so the follow-up question was, are there tips and tricks to teach your child before he begins to interface with the world? So are there that's when a bird gives birth and that nesting period. So
Yes.
are there tips and tricks before you now unleash the child to the world? Are there tips and tricks to help build your child's self-confidence in the face of peer influence?
Okay.
Yeah.
At what point do we release the child to the world? You know, these days we send children to school from when they're like 3 years
Or younger.
or younger. So they go to school at a very young age. So the preparation doesn't start when the child is turning 8 or 9. The preparation starts when that child is about 3. So one of those tips and tricks that you are going to start inculcating in the child from when the child is 3, when the child is going to school, the child comes back with somebody else's toy, somebody else's whatever. You have to start teaching the child our culture. You do not take what is not yours. You take it back. You have to love. This is what mommy gave you, so you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. And if you have need for anything, get back to mommy. So we have to deliberately begin to let the child learn what I call why is this word skipping? Oh Lord. Be content.
Contentment.
Yes. The child has to learn to be content. So those are part of the tricks you have to teach the child.
Okay.
You have to teach the child contentment. You have to teach that child love for what is his own, which is part of contentment. Then another trick you have to teach the child is the child must stay away from anything that affects who he is.
Yeah.
For example, I have a 3-year-old, and I tell the 3-year-old, your shoes, do you like your shoes? Your shoes are lovely. Your shoes are the best. So it's deliberate. I'm just saying all of that to let the child know that don't go to school and start looking at somebody else's. Yours is the best. It's deliberate. It's a build-up.
Yeah.
So that when the child gets older, I can communicate what I want to communicate fully.
Oh, okay.
So those are tricks.
Thank you
But
so
there's
much.
there's so much to gulp, so much to take in, and that leads to the next question. So whenever we hear peer pressure, we immediately think of negative peer pressure. It was after a few years I had to bring myself to say, oh, pressure is actually negative or positive. But for now, what really is negative peer pressure? Let's just spell it out. What is negative peer pressure?
Okay, negative peer pressure is that feeling. I would like to use feeling, strong feeling inside that makes you want to do what is not good to others or to even harm yourself. I made it so simple because sometimes we misinterpret it. It's called negative peer pressure. It's that feeling to want to harm yourself or harm others or even do something wrong in your environment. So it's that feeling that pushes you to do either that against yourself, against someone else, or even your environment. So for example, you want to tilt in the area of a child negatively pushed to want to smoke. You are not only disturbing yourself, what you are emitting, he's disturbing others, he's disturbing the environment. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So now that has been spelled out in very simple language, are there practical ways that Sommie and I and mothers watching us from Ghana, from Liberia, from Egypt, from what are the countries, Angola, all over Africa, the 54 countries in Africa, are there steps, tricks for which we can teach our children to spot, recognize, and avoid negative peer pressure?
Oh yes, there are. So I would simply say this. If you have a friend and every time you relate with that friend, you are pushed to want to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's something, that's a flicker of light to let you know that this is just not good. So you have a friend, so that's how I simply explain it to children who are pretty young. If your friend tells you to do something and there's this uncomfortable feeling inside, like this thing I want to do, is it good? That is negative. That is wrong, because something is troubling you on the inside, makes you quite uncomfortable about that.
And then this thing, does society accept this thing that you are pushed to do? Is it acceptable in the society? If it is not, then you know it's negative. If you feel uncomfortable, and then if the society does not accept it, generally it's not something you are proud about, then you shouldn't do it.
Okay, so it has been a wonderful discussion. Of course, anything you're not proud about, don't do it. Because most times you see evil thrives in secrecy.
Yes.
So once you feel the need to hide something you're doing, then you should question
What
that thing is, if it's positive or negative. So like we've said in the course of the discussion, there are positive peer pressure and negative peer pressure. So let's now talk about practical ways a mother can inspire or encourage positive peer pressure for her child. That is because there is also a very thin line between positive peer pressure and, when you're trying to inspire your child, and comparison. Because there's that tendency to begin to say, oh, see this person, he did this, he did that. At that point, it's tilting towards comparison. The child is nothing. So how can you, create that balance while still steering your child and inspiring your child to emulate positivity in their parents?
Thank you, Sommie. So I would like to answer that question by saying that as African mothers, we have a responsibility to build a relationship with our children. Every child is different. So if you have 10 children, you have a responsibility to build relationships with those 10 children. And you have to consider their individuality. Who is this child? And then watch out for the strengths of the child and build on it as you are relating with the child. And then we can also do something. We can also introduce activities to our children from when they are young. Now you have identified the strength of your child. Oh, my child is going to be will be a fantastic music, he has musical skills. Or this child has singing ability. This child has sporting ability. This child will be a very good athlete. So what are these things I have discovered? So you begin to engage the child, expose the child to symposiums, just take the child out. Then what you are doing is that you are introducing your child to a new group of people, a new set of people that will inspire that child positively, influence the child positively. So after a while, you find that the child doesn't have time for negative. The child is now being pushed in certain directions because the child was pushed early, the child will pursue it.
Train up a child in the way it should go, and when it grows,
he will not depart from it. I mean, it's been amazing, and if time were enough, we could go on and on. But so far, we have asked ourselves and asked our guests here, what is negative peer pressure? And in summary, what we're going to teach our children is, if any friend or any person influences you to do anything that is not comfortable to you, you do not feel at peace with it, you are not sure mommy or daddy will be proud of it, and you're not sure the society will be happy you're doing it, that is negative peer pressure. And then when Sommie asked, where do we draw the line between comparing our children with their peers and navigating them in the direction of positive peer pressure, what the answer we have gotten and the result we have had is, rather than tell your child, oh, can't you see this person, it doesn't have two heads and all of that. First of all, identify your child's uniqueness. After you have done that, spot persons or environments that would allow those uniquenesses thrive, then channel your child's energy in that direction. What it does is that it takes your child to a community, an environment, and a set of peers that have similar giftings, similar abilities, and most likely the same set of direction for life. And what it also does, it now creates a set of peers that would now take his attention and his time away from negative peer pressure. I mean, it's been so amazing. Thank you so very much, Mrs. 𝘼𝙁𝙍𝙄𝙎. I mean, right now, I would like to chip in Africa, my Africa. So we are Africans and we are proud Africans, and our goal as women in A.R.A.L Show is raising our children deliberately and consciously to be the kind of leaders that we want for Africa. But it also starts by knowing our own Africa. So do you know, or did you know, have you forgotten, let's remind you that the African continent is the second largest continent in the world by both population and area. And it is the largest country in Africa is Algeria. And the most populous country in Africa, can you guess the country? And guess the most populous city in Africa, right? Yes. We have about 211 million people in this city. Woo! Please make some noise. All right. So over to you, Sommie, for the trivia.
Okay, so like my Africa. We are Africans, we're proud, and we look forward to having the Africa of our dreams. So, like we said, you can't be proud without knowing your heritage. You can't be proud without knowing your history. So we're going to be asking a question on Africa My Africa segment. And of course, you stand a chance to win a prize if you answer correctly. Please make use of the comment section. And the question is, what city in North Africa and the country it is located in have a population of approximately 102,000 people? Don't use Google.
Don't do it.
So I'll take the question again. What city in North Africa and the country it is located in have a population of approximately 102,000 people? Let's see those that are, rich in their culture, those that are rich in their heritage, those that are rich in their history. So over to you, Zoe.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sommie. All right, we've been discussing raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure. And right about now, I think it's a good time to go on a very quick break. When we return, we shall be giving our final words. Our guest here, Mrs. 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, is a seasoned teens coach with several years' experience, and she has responded very beautifully to our questions. All right, please, we'll be right back. Do not go away. We're going on a break now.
As we enter a new week, we are looking forward to fresh beginnings, new events, and unforgettable experiences. Our dedicated team at 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁 Solutions is working hard behind the scenes, making sure that every sound, every beat, and every moment is set to be extraordinary. Every piece is being carefully checked, expertly cleaned, and thoroughly tested to guarantee quality sound, from microphones to mixing consoles, amplifiers to speakers. Everything is being given a thorough check to ensure top performance with no compromises. Our commitment to you, our valued clients, is unwavering. Whether it's a corporate event, a grand celebration, or an intimate gathering, we are making sure your stories are told with precision and clarity. Behind every vibrant sound is a team making sure every moment in the spotlight is perfectly amplified. When your moment arrives, our precision and passion are there to ensure every sound, every note, and every voice is unmistakably heard, felt, and treasured. Welcome to a world of live sound, brilliance, and unforgettable moments. Welcome to 𝘼𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁 Solutions, where every beat counts.
You're welcome back to the A.R.A.L Show, where A.R.A.L means Afrimums Raising African Leaders. Our conversation today has been raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure. And we have a special guest right here in the studio, Mrs. 𝘼𝙁𝙍𝙄𝙎 and she has been doing justice to the topic. In summary, she has said to us that negative peer pressure, in simple terms, is when your child or a young person, begins to yield to anything that he's uncomfortable doing simply because his peers ask him to. And to nip that tendency in the bud, she says to us, train your child to be loved. Let him know who he is. And then that would go a long way in ensuring that that child can withstand negative peer pressure. All right, so our final words from our guests. Any final words to African mothers raising the next generation of African leaders?
Okay, these are my final words. I love Africa. Like what they say, if there is a second life, I'll come again as an African. So the final words I can say to every mom out there, every parent out there, is that we have a duty and we have a responsibility to raise a generation of people, a generation of young men and young women who are able to stand up and put Africa in the world's map where it ought to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So just before I give my final words, I would like to say a shout out to our sponsors, Digit Sound Solution. The clean sound you're hearing right now is powered by Digit Sound. So please, a round of applause for our sponsors, Digit Sound. And of course, this is on your refreshing radio, Digit 1024 radio. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, comment, and please share. This is a movement, this is a crusade, so more people need to hear this, and they can only do that when you help us share this video so it can reach more people. So in conclusion, I would say Africa is a gold mine.
Yes.
We need to mine it as much as we can. And mothers, please arise and take up your place. You owe Africa a duty to raise the next breed of African leaders that will change the course of Africa and put us on the global map, where Africa becomes the go-to for the world and for the solution to world problems.
Thank you so much. The moment you birthed a child, young mama, the moment you birthed a child, African mama, you earned yourself a golden opportunity to change the narrative. The future of Africa is right there in your sitting room, sitting with you, giving you a warm hug, going from your kitchen to your sitting room and everywhere else. Now is the time to make the change that we want to see. The Afrimums Raising African Leaders is a movement. It's a wake-up call. Eyes on the goal. There's an Africa we want to see, and together we'll make it happen. All right, it has been an awesome one here at the station. We have been discussing raising a confident child to withstand negative peer pressure. If you are just joining us, you have the opportunity to go back and listen, and please share. Please also share with us your thoughts, your opinions, and if there are topics you would like for us to explore, please let us know. Thank you very much once again for joining us.
Yes.
So from all of us here in the studio, we are saying, till we come your way again, remember, tell the world, Africa is coming.